Well, the cleanup continues in Kyiv following a deadly Russian attack on the Ukrainian capital early Sunday. Ukrainian officials say it's the largest aerial attack since the start of the war. CTV's Jeremy Sharon reports.
Billowing smoke covered the skies of Kyiv this morning. More than 800 Russian drones and missiles launched at the capital and across Ukraine in the largest air assault since the start of the war. Ukrainian forces say most were shot down. Government buildings were damaged in the attack. Apartment buildings were also hit. Officials say 4 people were killed and dozens injured. I am an ethnic Russian myself. I've never thought my people would be capable of this, said this Kyiv resident. In a statement on social media, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said such killings now, when real diplomacy could have already begun long ago, are a deliberate crime and a prolongation of the war. After meeting with Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin last month, U.S. President Donald Trump set a 2-week timeline to get both leaders to meet and discuss a peace deal, which has now come and gone, with Russia escalating its attacks since.
I think the recent months are showing that this is the direction it's going. Putin feels emboldened by some of the support he's getting, feels that time is on his side.
In a social media statement today, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand called the attacks egregious, adding Ukraine's fight for its territorial integrity is also a fight for freedom and the rules-based international order that has kept us all safe since the end of the Second World War. Minister Anand says she spoke with Ukraine's Foreign Affairs Minister this morning and highlighted how Canada continues to support them through an oil price cap, sanctions, humanitarian, military, and financial aid. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
Joining me now is Walter Dorn, military expert and defense studies analyst. Good morning to you, Walter. So this is the first time a government building has been hit in a Russian strike, this happening in Kyiv. What triggered this escalation, and what does this say to you about Russia's evolving tactics?
It looks like Russia is now got its gloves off and is attacking federal buildings. Especially this building, very significant, is the Council of Ministers building where the cabinet meets. And it's a symbolic target as well as a very practical one when you have the highest leaders of the country meeting in that building and now being attacked. So previously, you could see that these two sides were not aiming for each other's political buildings because they wanted to not go make this into a political attacks. On political structures that would then endanger their own lives. But it looks like Russia has decided that they wanted to go for the political side. Really, that's a direct attack towards the politicians who will in the end make the decision about whether to go into peace negotiations and settle with Russia.
Well, Zelensky has vowed to retaliate. What could that look like?
Well, it's now possible that Ukraine could start targeting more federal buildings in Russia. So far, they're really going after the oil refineries and putting a pinch on the gas supplies and, of course, military facilities. But if Russia is now showing that it can go after federal buildings and buildings where the politicians are meeting, then Putin himself has to be concerned.
So European leaders, some of them will visit the White House this week, this coming after President Trump said over the weekend he was considering another round of sanctions, a second round of sanctions on Russia. Where do things go from here? What does this potentially mean for NATO's next move?
Well, the European leaders are really hoping that Trump will apply sanctions finally. He's threatened sanctions many times, but always backed away. Now that the United States is getting frustrated with Vladimir Putin, that the attempts at talks really haven't gone anywhere, that the U.S. will now apply tariffs on Russia. Surprisingly, Trump has put tariffs on most countries of the world, but not on Russia itself. So it's time for an escalation of sanctions on Russia, including the secondary sanctions on those countries that trade with Russia.
Walter Dorn, thanks so much for being with us today. Good to see you.